You're listening to
Hot Sauce Sports with Moe Khan, Peeze, Della, Reeze, and Terry Tam.
I now know that I'm on with a spy, depending on who's the captain of this ship. That's probably a bad thing if this podcast is supposed to go viral, isn't it?
Cordero Patterson like grabbing some shanks, gentlemen here, and he quote, and I quote, "I'm a grown man. I don't need nobody blank and blank in my balls, my face."
In my teenage years, I'd get back from high school, I'd smash 2 pizza pockets. Carmelo Anthony never learned you can't live life just smashing pizza pockets.
Because he lost a double bet, what I did is I cut a jalapeno in half, and I filled it with hot sauce. So he's going to have to slurp this down.
Why you give me a fucking banana, dude? I'm not eating a banana. I'll rather piss in my mouth than eat this.
Okay, so there we go. Stop stalling. Let's go. Let's go.
Now, here are your hosts, Moe, Terry, and Peeze.
All right. Woo! We're moving up in the world now, eh? New intro. German Euro music. Down the Autobahn. All right. Woo!
I love that beat, man. Honestly.
Yeah, man. Play that beat again here, Eagle, please. If you can.
Yeah,
Nope. There we go.
Right, there it is. Ready? Hey, we can. Look at that. How can you not just do this the entire time?
All right. Yeah.
I want to eat that banana now.
You want to eat the banana now?
A big
Good
thank
time
you,
for it.
though. A big thank you for those who produced the beat. Peezler.
DJ Judgment worked on it for us.
Judgment Day's
coming.
here.
I like it. It's very well done.
All right.
Huge fan.
Episode 5.
I can't stop.
Neither can
Eagle,
I.
turn it off, man. Fuck.
All right. We'll play randomly throughout the show. All right. Episode 5 of Hot Sauce Sports.
How about this, Eagle? Anytime someone's really awkward, you interrupt us with that music so we change topic.
Yeah.
And I just start dancing.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that intro. That it's like shooting lasers.
Exactly.
But no,
Exactly. What's wrong with lasers?
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Episode 5. You can follow us on Facebook, IG, Twitter. We're on Facebook Live. Where else are we on now? Spotify. Yes, Spotify.
Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast, man. Look
Basically
out, Steve
everywhere.
Jobs.
Everywhere.
Steve Jobs, look out. We're coming up there. It'll be the most downloaded show in the Steve Jobs empire.
Wait, does Steve Jobs have a show?
No, but I'm
Is
saying
that
the
why
Steve
he's-
Jobs empire of the Apple.
Oh, of his own empire.
Yeah, of his own empire.
Oh. Also, be
Look
weird if
out.
he had a podcast because,
Not alive.
No, he isn't. May God rest his soul.
From beyond the grave.
that'd be a great name for his podcast.
From beyond the grave. With oh boy. Anyway,
gonna be one of
Peeze,
those.
Della, Reeze,
Well, it's
Terry
better than the
Tam,
Bill Gates of hell.
Duke in the
Everything.
saddle and Eagle in the perch. As we are week 5 or episode number 5, as the holidays are now in full force. Boys, have you started your Christmas shopping or your Hanukkah shopping
I'm
or
almost
your
done.
holiday shopping?
Well, Hanukkah's done, Mo.
Well, anyway, I'm saying perhaps.
Have you started shopping for it?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Okay.
Christmas, yes, absolutely. And I hate candles. No.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
Candles
yeah.
are amazing.
What?
Candles are amazing.
They are, but I hate
Only if
them.
you don't have electricity.
No, I mean you get those scented ones there.
Yeah, ice cream flavor.
No, I got this one. It was called bubblegum.
Oh.
Not bubblegum. Sorry. Something rum eggnog. I think it was bubble rum eggnog. Amazing.
So
we have one now that's Snickerdoodle, and I would say, when I was single, my house never smelled like Snickerdoodle. Also, the hell's a Snickerdoodle?
look it up, please, Eagle. What
Eagle?
is a snickerdoodle, please? Or
Please
Duke?
find that out immediately.
It's the shit that a Snickers makes.
Yeah, so what I had after eating the hot pepper. Yo, you gotta pay a debt tonight.
I know.
You get
I'm
paid debt
good.
tonight.
Yes, yeah, Duke.
Do you guys ever fear burning down your house when you have candles on?
Yeah.
No.
Because I have
I
like
do.
a life threatening. I have
No,
like
but
a life
they
fear.
come in
But
like a casing, so it's impossible.
But no, but sometimes there's ignorance. So I have an OCD. I'm like, no. No one's in the room. I blow out the candle. I'm coming back in 5 minutes. Nope, blow out the candle.
No, it's true.
But
You
like,
can't.
if you're
though, you
still in
can't.
the room, you still blow it out?
No, and
Still
honestly,
blow it
never
out.
leave it unattended. The cat
No,
can knock it down.
yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Also, don't have pets. Is the other,
Yeah, that's one thing.
the other
dog.
moral of the story.
Squirrel.
Except for
Anything.
my cat. She's awesome.
What's your cat's name?
Pippa.
good story.
Exciting. Exciting. Exciting stuff here. Let's dive in now. So Duke looks like he's constipated shooting a gun off over here. Are you okay there, Duke? You look constipated shooting
Yes,
that gun off.
good.
Okay, good. All right, so headline number 1, a very eventful week of the NFL and how it was on Sundays. Some excitement as Peeze was at a climax of what he saw at 4:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the Rams lose, the Pats lose, and the Steelers lose all in ugly fashion. Gentlemen, who are you more worried about now at this point of the season going into the last 3 games or 4 games for some of these teams?
Well, for someone to lose to the Miami Dolphins is not. So, but I also want to dive into that for a second. Why would you put Gronk back there? So, like, if it's a huge advantage to have someone tall defending the pass, then it would be a huge disadvantage to not have someone tall. So that means your regular corners can't defend deep passes normally throughout the game?
They
Oh, wait,
can.
they can. So why would you...
No, they take out linebackers
Okay.
or D-line.
Well, they took
Well,
up
why don't you
McCourty.
just add defensive backs who can tackle, who can corner, who can cover people, who can do all the things. Also, how's Ryan Tannehill going to throw the ball 69 yards?
Well,
Also, did Gronk let Kenyon Drake score because it would be a 69-yard touchdown?
Nah, that's very. That's
Well,
that's
he
more
is known
plausible.
for the U.S. STD, Gronkowski. But they took out McCourty for him, and that was, it was mismanaged by the Patriots through and through.
I don't think so. That was a freak play.
But the Tin
How the hell
Man
did he
was...
As a Dolphins fan, I
Yeah.
would say it was perfectly managed by the Patriots. Screw you guys. It was glorious.
That actually altered a lot of fantasy playoff matchups. The Kenyon Drake
Of
play.
course, yeah,
But
for sure.
the Tin Man, Rob Gronkowski, looked like he looked like he's rusted. He couldn't move out
Yeah,
there.
he was
Oh,
lost
I
out
need to
there.
get there, and I can't tackle him. And
Yeah, he was
fell
lost. He
flat
didn't
on
know
his
what he was
face.
So what's affecting Ben Roethlisberger more, the early onset diabetes or the massive amount of hits he's taking? Because he just generally looks unhealthy at all times.
He's for sure always banged up. I mean, he always plays through his injuries, and he's never really given his body enough time to rest. He's lost a lot of weight though, so maybe that's gonna help him. But at the end of the day, he's just getting old.
Well, I think what it comes down to for that Steeler team, they thrive and they die on drama.
Yeah.
And you look at that game, you don't have James Conner. That hurts the run game, right? Big Ben gets cracked early on by the Raiders. And I think everyone left that stadium angry. Raider fans left angry because Niners had won that football game. They could have had the number 1 pick. Now they're 3-hole for the draft order. Pittsburgh leaves upset because we said it before, guys. They play down or play up to competitions. And in this case, this was a terrible loss for the Steelers now at 7-5-1, holding on by threat to the 4 spot. And with the big game against the Patriots on Sunday, I don't know, perhaps this might be the nightmare ending that no one thought would happen a month ago, which is happening now.
Which would make who win the division? Baltimore. And then-
Baltimore is only a game back now.
And
but
where's Cleveland now?
Cleveland
3
is
games back?
2 back, but they can't catch Pittsburgh because of the tiebreaker
Because of the
scenario.
tiebreaker.
Yes.
So, man, if they blow this, it's pretty bad because then you'll see Baltimore, who hasn't had a really consistent quarterbacking all year, in the playoffs, and it just goes to show that the NFL, man, if you're in a division where if you have locker room issues, if you have if you don't beat the teams that you should beat, quote unquote, like Cleveland or whatever the case may be, then you're gonna get fucked, and that's what's happening in the NFC East. Now it's happening in the AFC North.
But given as thoroughly mediocre as their defense has been, given the fact that Ben has still these magical moments, but always looks like he is going to spend a lot of his retirement sitting on a couch,
Broken down.
He's not going to move a lot when he's
No,
retired.
for sure not.
Maybe he's like prime candidate for a segue.
Yes, Duke.
You probably break it.
So who has a tougher remaining schedule? I'll give you both scenarios. We have the Steelers, who will be playing the Patriots, followed by the Saints, and then they end the season in Cincinnati. Whereas the Baltimore is looking to play the Buccaneers, the Chargers, and the Browns.
So the butt end of the NFL schedule for the
Buccaneers, Browns.
the Bucks are a win.
They both. I mean, they're all 3 of them. They each should finish 2-1. Not the Ravens. The Ravens should go 1-2.
No, Pittsburgh has the Saints, Pats, and Bengals.
Yeah, so 2-1.
But you're playing a Saints team that can. I think the Saints should be down like 20-0, and they can just make it a game out of it and win by 40.
I think the Steelers can beat the Pats. I don't think they'll beat the Saints.
But they're both coming off losses, right? I mean,
I
it's I think the game's in Foxborough, is it not this week? Pittsburgh and New England.
Also, then the Saints just
Yes.
lose to the Cowboys
It's
like 2
in-
No,
weeks
it's in
ago.
Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh. I beg your pardon. So yes,
Yeah,
yes, they're
don't
playing
ask
somewhere
It's somewhere, yeah.
with fans.
They're playing at Percival.
Yes, Percival. Anyway, but the thing is, though, gentlemen, and I'll ask you this question: if you had to suffer a loss like these 3 teams did, Pittsburgh on the last play, 4th down to Derek Carr, who has no one to throw to, but like a bunch of CFL receivers, Kenyon Drake's run right by the Tin Man, Or you look at how it all played out for the Rams and how they were literally trained up and down by a ferocious Bears defense. Would you rather lose in the cold like the Rams, or lose how the Patriots lost, or even how the Steelers lost?
I think the Patriots loss is the worst one for me.
Well, but you can excuse that because that's the exact moment that Gronk begun his hangover from the night before in Miami. But in all honesty, I think the Rams pose a serious concern. The Rams loss posed a serious concern for them because if they face a team with a tough defense, and they may have to face the Bears on their way to the Super Bowl.
But it'll be in L.A., though. They don't have to go back to Chicago.
Fair, but that defense is still good regardless of where they're playing.
I worry about Mitch Trubisky, though. I mean, the Bears' defense was phenomenal. They were a Himalayan
Listen,
mountain
he's been
that they couldn't
productive.
climb.
Cohen can throw the ball, apparently.
Yeah, everyone can throw that
they-
football.
Block everything.
They have the strangest, ugliest, worst offense to watch, by far. But it's working, and that defense is allowing for it to work.
I just want to say, beginning of the year, I predicted the Bears to win the division.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I'm
Nobody
just
cares what
saying.
you predict. How about all the other predictions you got wrong?
Yeah, but I like to point out the ones I
Right,
got
fair,
right, though.
fair.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez will be a huge addition to the
Yeah,
Washington
I did
football
not
team.
say that.
30.3.
Play back the tape,
quarterback
Hugo.
rating.
Play back.
We have the
episode fucking 2.
Yeah, that's way back from like 10 years ago.
It does feel so long ago. We were so young and innocent back then.
No, never. Never.
Speaking of innocence, flipping the finger. So the Vikings, awful game on Monday night, prime time. They get skunked by the Seahawks 21. So Mike Zimmer fires John DeFilippo, hence flipping the finger, the OC. And now the question is, do the Vikings recover in time? They're holding the 6th spot at 6-1, gentlemen. Do they hold on to be your wild card team going into January playoffs, yes or no?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because if you fire your OC at this point, it's because it hasn't been working. And what are you going to bring in so far that's gonna work now?
So DeFilippo is a renowned offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Apparently the issue is it was just a bad fit, and
With Cousins, I guess.
with
with
Mike
Mike
Zimmer
Zimmer.
wants
With
to
Mike
do.
Zimmer.
Yeah,
okay.
Mike Zimmer wants to be a run-heavy team, play-action-heavy team.
Dinosaur offense.
Instead, DeFilippo was throwing the ball over the field. I don't know if it fits
It doesn't
Kirk
fit
Cousins'
with
style of play.
Then it's easier to get rid of a coach than an $84 million.
But it's the second time he's got rid of an OC in the last 3 years. No Turner 2 years ago, midway through the year, now DeFilippo. So it's a bit of an issue here from Mike Zimmer to say, is he still going to be the head coach in 2019?
And if anybody fits that mold of the run-pass shit, is North Turner.
Yeah. The considering guys were like things that are bad matches together, like the first thing that came to mind for me was a preacher being married to a prostitute. Like that's kind of what that was. Do you have a
Who's the
similar
prostitute?
a bad what? Sorry.
Who's the prostitute?
What's is there like a famously terrible one?
I mean, in terms of like a
The dog from
I mean, Marilyn Manson? Not Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe?
I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Marilyn Monroe. Also, I
Yeah,
don't think she was a
she's-
prostitute.
Yeah, she's a hooker.
I mean, I think it was
Yes,
considered-
dude.
Seriously, huh?
Of
course she was a
so
hooker.
if you're the Jets today, how happy are you that Kirk Cousins didn't
84
accept a $90 million
guaranteed.
contract?
84
Pro-
guaranteed.
pro-
No,
Probably-
Kirk Cousins is a good fucking quarterback, man.
Kirk Cousins is a above average NFL quarterback,
Yeah.
and there are not many of those.
He's marginal in the most important games. That's what it comes down
Yeah,
to.
that's true. That's a good point. You
But
like that.
the thing is, they said Tony Soprano, the late Tony Soprano, who passed away in July, was the buffer with Zimmer and DeFilippo. So the question is now,
Whoa, DeFilippo was in the mob.
perhaps, yes, exactly. So who do you blame now? Do you blame
You
Mike
said
Zimmer?
Soprano.
Yes. Do you blame
He's the Michael Imperioli.
It's Sparano.
Sparano? Do you blame Kirk Cousins or do you blame Mike Zimmer of how this has been an underachieving year for the Vikings?
How about injuries on the offensive line?
Yeah, that's
And
it,
injuries
yeah.
to your running back who's
Never having a
clearly
consistent
not
running back.
healthy. The thing is, we all understand that football is an intensely physical game. These guys are physical freaks. I'm never going to judge the toughness of an NFL player. But the thing is, we look at guys, hey, he had a down year, and we forget he's coming off an ankle injury,
Yeah.
and it takes some time to recover, especially when you're still getting smashed every goddamn week. So the thing is, it's clear to me Dalvin Cook's not healthy. The issues on the offensive line are plaguing them right now. And so I just think it's a bad circumstance for a new quarterback to come into the team to try and establish that playbook with him. And given all the circumstances, I just think it's a lot going uphill. I didn't think the Vikings were going to be very good
No.
this season because of all these circumstances to begin with. And their offensive line play has not been good over the last 2 or 3 years in general.
Overall, their offensive line has never been their strong point. It's always been defense and then a decent running game. Okay, but right now what's going on is that it's not Kirk Cousins' fault. You knew what you're getting when you signed Kirk Cousins. And I'm not going to just blame Mike Zimmer either because he's one game away last year from being in the Super Bowl.
Well, they were exhausted by the time they played Philadelphia.
Yeah, and they
emotionally.
played with a quarterback that's worse than Kaepernick in Case Keenum. So,
So you're saying is he should be a starter?
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Dude.
In retrospect, should the Vikings have kept Teddy Bridgewater?
No, because he didn't. You know, it's sort of that notion like we have a guy who isn't who he was before that injury, which is awful because he was really good for the Vikings.
But I always feel
I
like
think
Teddy
he was all
Bridgewater.
right.
I've always felt like he never got enough time to develop. And like
No.
a full year, because in the NFL, it's you got to win now. There's very few teams that are like, okay, fuck it, we'll just sacrifice the season for the future. But they always want to win now, and Vikings were a team that wanted to win now. And I felt that, and it sucks that he never really got a fair chance. And I think he's probably learned a lot from Drew Brees now.
Oh, he's in a better spot right now.
Much better spot now because he doesn't have to do anything and still get paid millions. But at the end of the day,
Taysom Hill meanwhile is blocking punts.
yeah,
Blocking
exactly.
punts. He comes out there, take a couple of knees. We're done.
Fuck it.
But the window is closing for the Vikings. This is a
of course.
3-year window. There's 1 year less of the window. They'll probably next year, maybe in 2 years from now. But look, the reality is a lot of these guys want to get paid, and Anthony Barr is due up for a contract. Kendricks is due up for a contract. Xavier Rhodes just signed a long-term deal. There's a lot of guys who are looking for dollars. And remember, you have Diggs and Thielen both getting or will get big dollar deals as we speak.
And nothing returns less value than a long-term contract on a cornerback. It's just diminishing returns as corners get older. But I will say, if you're Teddy Bridgewater, you're in this unique situation where you're not as good as the aging veteran quarterback in Drew Brees, and you probably never will be. And you're not even as good an athlete as the guy below you on the depth chart in Taysom Hill. So, I mean, like, he's got to feel like, what do I offer? I hope he's got, like, a great personality.
He probably holds that clipboard very well, just like
Sturdy.
Mark Sanchez.
I wonder.
Well, he might fumble into someone's butt.
Might.
His own
I wonder if Mike Zimmer had a crystal ball and say last year this time and he looked into the future and saw what's going on today, would he say, you know what, let me keep Case Keenum and not sign Kirk Cousins? I wonder if they would go back and
I don't know
have
that
buyer's
they're that
remorse.
different.
I don't think so. Look at Case Keenum's plays. All the plays that he had to really rely on a bad decision by the defensive back for the Saints. I forgot his name.
Williams.
That tried to tackle Stephon Diggs there. That was a freak play. He just closed his eyes and threw it. That was his only touchdown he threw, and it was for the game-winning drive. I don't think they.
I just don't
they had
think
any
they're that
confidence
different.
in Keenum.
I think Kirk Cousins is a touch better, but I mean,
Kirk Cousins.
if you're neither of them are the top grouping of elite quarterbacks or potentially elite quarterbacks in the league.
Kirk Cousins is a worse version of Alex Smith. You know, where he likes to check
Well,
down.
he
might be able
melts
to throw
down in the
deep.
fourth quarter.
He melts down. I'm saying he's a worse version of Alex Smith.
Yes, Duke.
Case Keenum, his deal is only 2 years, $25 million fully guaranteed.
Yeah, well, the Broncos just need a stopgap
until
they find somebody.
Until
right?
John Elway finds his next Peyton Manning. He'll probably bring back Peyton Manning in 2 years. You know, you're healthy, you're good to come.
His
We're
arm
good to
can't
go.
be worse than it was.
Would Peyton Manning be a better option for the Vikings at quarterback than Kirk Cousins right now?
No.
You say yes, Eagle?
No.
Duke, you say what? No. Peeze, you say what? Is Peyton Manning a better option at quarterback right now
Absolutely
than Kirk
fucking
Cousins
not.
for the Vikings? offense?
No, he's not.
No, come on. The guy hasn't played in 3 years. He was barely playing well his last 2 years.
Yeah, Brock Osweiler got them to the
Yeah, exactly,
playoffs, so
I mean, Hall of Famer, yeah, great story, but no.
Eagle thinks he's better. Anyway.
Eagles won.
Headline number 3, and I assume this is supposed to be fight night, not flight night.
Yes.
Could be flight night.
It could be.
What did we go with in the picture?
Obviously, fight night.
Nice.
Okay, good. I don't know if it was a flight in the night with a plane going overhead.
It's also
here.
the wrong night.
Knight.
It's a night.
Knight.
Okay. Learn to read, Moe Khan.
I'm sorry.
The K isn't silent.
So we look at this topic here. Is there an issue with boxing when it comes to decisions, i.e., Tyson Wilder, Shaq Finn from the Canadian
Listen,
perspective?
friend of the show, Shaq Finn, he got hosed straight up with
Family
the
of the show.
aggressor.
Family of the show.
Sorry?
Family of the show.
Absolutely. The thing is, looking back on that fight, you see he absolutely was the aggressor the entire time. He won clear rounds to me, and it seems as though calling that a draw is
Majority
rewarding.
Majority draw.
Majority draw. Still, you're basically deciding to reward a guy who just stood back and allowed Shaq to control the fight, just didn't get knocked out.
But you also can't. Like, I think Shaq won the fight too the way I scored it. But I don't think that you can penalize a guy for being a counter fighter. That's his style. It's Darvisian style. I forgot to pronounce his name.
Bradician.
Bradician.
Bradician, that's it. So I forgot.
Dario
He's
Bradician.
more of a counter puncher. He waited to Shaq come in. Maybe he wanted to tire Shaq out. He put a lot of weight on his shoulders. There's a lot of things that he was doing that were very good. And if you look at it, I could see how some of the judges may have put it even because Shaq was so much the aggressor. But Bradician's his counters, he was doing really well. And I think that Shaq alluded to this too on his Twitter handle is that obviously he thinks he won the fight, and I think he did too. But at the end of the day, he didn't do enough to win the fight, and neither did Bradician.
Well, it's like I spoke to someone who was at the fight, and I asked him, like, how did you score it? And he's like, look, Shaq dominated, right? But he just couldn't find that knockout punch.
Exactly.
It's like you run the Hawaiian triathlon,
Yeah.
and you get to the last stage, and you just kind of burn out, so to speak, here, and you just don't finish where you're supposed to.
It's not only that. Shaq is a power puncher. He's a sick right hand, and
Well, he's learning to be a power puncher, though.
well, no, but he's still got one. He has knockout power. He's done it a bunch of times.
He's
Done
done
it
it
about
to me.
12 times.
Couldn't do it to me.
He'll blow on you and do it.
anytime. So the thing is, like to me again, he was all over him, and you're saying maybe he was trying to wear him out. He was getting worn out. He was getting tired of kicking Bradician's ass.
Sure.
And you know what? Like again, we have controversy with Wilder and Fury from a couple nights ago.
I see the controversy.
I mean, to me, it looked like a Wilder win.
It's a
I think
gong
it was a
show.
draw. I think it was a draw. I really do. And I explained this to Peeze, is that it's tough not to, obviously, you give those 2 rounds, the 9th round, the 12th round, 10-8. So then Wilder's up, if you just take those rounds, Wilder's up 4 rounds. Fury dominates pretty much every other round, except for maybe 1 and 6, what I probably would have given to Wilder. A lot of people gave rounds 6 and 7 to Wilder. You can go both ways. If you give those 3 rounds and the 2 knockout rounds to Wilder, it's still a draw. There's no other rounds. He won 5 out of the 12. It's a draw. 113-113.
The heavyweight division, as we know, isn't how it once was.
No.
It'll never be that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like boxing now, the storyline is that you try to stretch out those angles, a few more pay-per-views or a few more events to get that, hey, we'll keep this relevant for the next 6 months.
The first Canelo Triple G fight was a fucking shit show. And so this fight, the Wilder Fury fight, there was one judge that had a 115-111 Wilder. That guy's dumb. He should never
114-112.
He should never judge a fight ever again. Canelo and Triple G, their first fight, 100% was not a draw. It was not a draw, and they made it a draw because they knew they were going to fight again. And then when they fought again, Canelo won, and it was close. But boxing is fucking rigged for the most part. But I don't think it was rigged in Shaq's fight, and I don't think it was rigged in the Wilder Fury fight.
But don't you feel like the result kind of draws people into the next
It keeps it
one?
relevant for the next 6 months.
Right,
That's the whole idea.
Well,
Build up a storyline.
they made about $10 million each now. They're going to make $100 million their second fight because it was such a good fight.
But
the
like
fascination will be there.
in
Yeah.
2018, we're still counting on like 3 crusty old dudes to judge a fight. I mean,
And then also the 10-point month system doesn't work. It's not. I feel like it's not a right way to judge a fight. Okay, so if you knocked him down, so Fury in the 12th round that he got knocked out in, he won. He lost the round 10-8 to Wilder. He killed him the rest of the round. Why not make it a 9-9?
yeah.
You know what I mean? He would have to knock him down. So there's ways to go about it, but the 10-point must system, the way they do it now, is the only way they've ever known. And boxing is such an old school mentality that you can't fuck with the way they think, or that you can't change anything. This is the way it is. The sweet science. That's it. And it just sucks that it's never going to change. Or maybe get a 5th judge in there.
Or get like the simulator from the Fight Night video game that does it automatically because it's a machine.
CompuBox
And we would
simulator.
never get a wrong result.
And we've never denied it.
Look, as I said to you guys off, the best fighter right now in my book is Vasily Lomachenko.
No, big time.
Best fighter right now.
For sure, best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't have any draw. Like I was saying, I was in Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. I went to go watch the Knicks and Nets game.
You walking by MSG and saw the Knicks and Nets? Oh, look
No,
at
Done with the
I was
Knicks,
with my
brother.
friend. I was
Done with
with
the
my
Knicks.
friend, and he said, "You want to go watch a Knicks game? I think they're playing." I said, "Sure." So we went, and then we walked into MSG, and I see Lomachenko's name everywhere. I'm like, "Fuck!" I forgot he was fighting, and I'm a huge fight fan, and I forgot he was fighting. Just to say, and he was in the theater. He was in the theater at MSG, and it holds like 2,000 to 3,000 people. That's not a draw.
Well, you know what draws?
Because he's a great fighter.
You know what draws? Balls. Balls draw people. Whose balls are these? Kyler Murray, the now newly minted Heisman Trophy winner. So we know he's drafted by the Oakland A's, and
He's going to be the best football player in the MLB.
well, he'll get $4.5 million right away from the A's,
Yeah.
and then he'll have to figure it out from there if he gets to an MLB roster in the next year or two. So, gentlemen, I asked you this question with Kyler Murray: does he pursue the very boring sport of baseball, where he may never ever dabble more than 162 games in a year, or does he take the most popular sport with the ball in his hands and be the center focus of a sport that is loved by all in football?
The one that leaves you with medical bills that you can't pay because the insurance stops paying for veteran NFL players. The one that has a shorter career span, and the one that has a salary cap where you ultimately earn less money if he's as good as we expect him to be. Baseball's the most obvious choice in the world.
He's guaranteed, if they're saying he's a first-round guy, he's guaranteed at least $30 million, depending
Yeah.
on where he goes.
Yeah.
So,
In the NFL?
right away, right? So that's more than the 4.5 he'll get from
Of course,
Oakland.
but long
The
run,
A's.
there's more money in baseball,
Yeah.
right? And if
There
especially
is,
if you're
but
a star.
what's
Is he
the
gonna
odds
be
of
the
him?
next
Because
Jeff
Scott
Samardzija?
Boras will get him $30 million in 1 year.
The new commissioner of MLB, Scott Boras.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's the thing is, to me, it's hard to tell a guy, hey, go away from a sport that you think you can play at a high level, where you think you can play longer and make more money. I'm never gonna judge a guy for doing that.
I think it'll be baseball. If I had the choice, if I wasn't so gifted, and
if podcasting wasn't so
yeah,
lucrative.
exactly, yeah, if it wasn't so lucrative, I would for sure pick baseball.
Well, look at Troy
more
Tulowitzki,
more
right?
longevity, more money.
Well, Troy Tulowitzki
That's
got 38
crazy.
M's to leave Toronto.
Yeah, exactly.
I
More
mean,
money, by the way, than Kyler Murray would have made to play in the NFL as a first round pick.
It's-
So
There you go.
So that's the thing, though, right? I mean, Murray loves baseball, but he hasn't been a full-time commit to the sport in the last 3-4 years because of football.
Yeah.
And the infatuation of him is that, look, you play a glamorous position such as quarterback,
What does he
And-
play in baseball?
second base,
Second base.
the Mark Lemke position, or
Hmm.
Jeff Blauser.
Jeff
Can-
Blauser's a
Can you
good
check that out for us, Duke? Jeff Blauser, was he second base or was he shortstop? Jeff
I'm on it.
Blauser. Thank you.
Jeff Blauser was a second baseman.
Yeah, there you go. So the Jeff
Craig
Blauser.
Biggio.
Yeah, exactly. Or Chuck Knobloch, who had
Delino
that,
DeShields.
with that mental
mean-
breakdown,
You
couldn't
mean
make the throw.
Knobloch.
Jeff
Knobloch.
Kent.
Jeff Kent. Roberto Alomar.
Man,
So-
baseball names were awesome in the 90s. But like, so, like I said, to me, it's obvious, but it sounds like, Mo, you're saying you should play football. Because also, like, you're saying, well, he hasn't committed. How hard is it to commit to baseball?
Look at James Winston.
You don't have to
though.
study film. You just catch the ball. You throw it to first.
Well, look at some other past examples, right? Chad Hutchison. Hold on, sorry. The guy who played for Michigan, Drew. Who played for
Henson.
Drew Henson. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Drew Henson,
Got drafted by the Yankees.
who was number 1 over Tom Brady in the Michigan depth chart in '99.
Yeah.
Was taken by the Yankees, right? And he opted for baseball. And many thought, oh, he was going to be a better baseball player than football
He didn't
player.
pan out in baseball.
And he failed in both sports at the
Yeah.
end of the day, right?
Well,
so
it's tough to come back into football after. I feel like you can go from football to baseball pretty easily, but
the
going to
transition's
baseball to
easier.
football, yeah.
Yes, Duke.
Jeff Blauser, shortstop, played for
So Mark Lemke was the
played for the
second.
Braves and played for the
Cubs.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Two-time All-Star, World Series champion, and Silver Slugger
So I was talking
Award.
about Mark Lemke, the second baseman. That's what I'm talking about, right? There's been past examples. Chad Hutchison, another guy who played baseball and football, didn't
Yeah.
really pan out. Went baseball first and football second. Maybe the route is for him to go football first. Doesn't work out. You got baseball to land on
Easier
down the
transition.
road. Exactly.
But baseball, there's so many guys. Are they going to take a chance on a guy who's taking a bunch of hits to his arm?
Second base, man.
I get it, but he's also
Put
a
him
small
DH.
guy. He's not a big. He isn't.
No,
big
he isn't.
frame.
He's 5'9", I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't have a big frame. So
I don't
he's going to be
think-
playing in the NFL. He's going to be taking hits, man.
That's the thing is, like, I don't think he's a slam dunk first round pick either.
I
He
don't
doesn't
think
have
so
the
either.
Well, that's what
quote
they said about
unquote
Baker.
NFL measurables.
It's not-
That's what they said about
even-
Baker Mayfield, right?
He's shaped like that. He's shaped like that guy who turned out to be okay, I guess, Drew Brees. You know, so
No, he doesn't seem like a Drew Brees. He's an athletic guy.
I'm saying size wise,
Oh,
just the
size-wise,
measurables. Like,
no, but even Drew Brees is bigger than him.
Drew,
well, Drew
Drew's
Brees lies
5
about his height.
Yeah,
though.
5'11", I think he is, or 5'10".
Okay, but let's say so. Kyler Murray's about 5'9", 5'10". Let's say they're the
5'9"
same
and a half.
height.
Drew Brees'
He
height
also-
is like my weight on my license.
Yeah, but Kyler Murray is also built like these cameras, man. He's tiny.
Yeah, but the evolution of the
cameras
quarterback
there.
position, though,
Okay,
right?
the tripods. Can you see?
Think about
later.
it, though, right? Doug Flutie, when he came in the NFL in the 80s, back in the old boy network, we don't
Flutie
take 5'8" quarterbacks to be our guy, right? Flutie today would be the most fascinating quarterback now with his
he
style of
would
play.
be injured. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be
so-
injured that too.
I think that, look, I think baseball is where he ends up, but
Yeah.
football might be the first idea to see where he gauges
Maybe,
himself.
but
So
he'll be like a third round pick, I think.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Nick Saban's got those hungry dogs ready for his butt on December 29th.
Is he going to play Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray will play, yeah,
gonna
for
play.
sure. It's college football playoff, man.
true.
Speaking of no BS, the no BS with the Chicago Bulls, as they had a players-only meeting earlier this week. Jim Boylan
Your boys.
taking over for Fred Hoiberg.
You're a Bulls fan, no?
I am, yes. Using the military approach of coaching these professionals. So should they just tank the season and just move on from this whole situation and don't care for the year?
And fight for the number 1 pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Did you hear
You're not going to win the East anyway. You can't come out of the East.
Did you hear the most 1960s quote of all time, where he said that he needed guys? Can someone can you get the quote exactly? That like he needs guys that if you're down by 56, they still want to win or something like that. It was
Why
cool.
would they be down by 56?
I'm glad you're a high school coach and you can make a motivational film with a motivational speech and Sandra Bullock film, but like it's
What do you
not
have
going to
against
help you
Sandra
win
Bullock?
games in the NBA.
No, because then you want these people losing by 56 to want to win when they know that all they're thinking about is what bar they're going to go to after, going back home to their families, trying to stay healthy. And because they make millions, they're not going to care about a loss, like 100% loss already.
And do you think they don't know they're a bad team?
Oh,
they're a
Do you think
terrible
they don't
team.
know they're
Yeah.
less talented than
They're very
everyone
bad.
else?
It sucks because Chicago Bulls have always been seen as like the team. Kind of.
No,
They
not
haven't
the last
always
20
been.
years.
I mean, not the last 20 years, but I'm saying is that they've always had that kind of it's Chicago Bulls, like some sort of respect, regardless of who they put on the court. So it just sucks that they're bottom.
It beats days of Marcus Pfizer and many others out there who played for this team. Jamal Tinsley and Tim Floyd coaching this team here.
Jamal Tinsley was good.
But it's fascinating because you look at the new age basketball play, the millennials now, and you see this hardcore Stone Age head coach in Jim Boylan who's like, oh, I'm not going to change my ways.
Yeah.
We're going to be what we are.
Yeah.
And imagine this is LeBron.
Can't wait for him to get fired in 16 games.
But imagine this is LeBron, right? Let's say
Yeah.
LeBron's in this position, Hoiberg gets canned, and they bring in Boylan. They get cracked again by Boston by 85 million points. What does LeBron say? Like, you're out of here too? Like, I mean, these guys, there isn't an alpha male that you're going to say, whoa, I got to respect this guy.
Of course, yeah.
the thing is,
Can't be as boring as the Knicks.
the best coaches in the NBA in 2018 realize that the players know they have more power than the administration in the NBA. And so they've realized what we need to do is doing the thing where I get in the face and yell at them. That's not always the best approach. It doesn't always work. What works instead is how do I manage them to put them in the best position for success?
Yes, Duke.
So referring to Pop, Boylan said that he had a veteran established team that knew what they wanted, that they knew the system. And in San Antonio, they had standards of behavior, standards of play, and that they are establishing those, and they can't do that without practice.
Yeah, they have fundamental players.
Practice?
Tim Duncan off the glass, right? Manu Ginobili off the glass. They have fundamental players.
Yeah, and
This
so
is
like now, who in the last 20 years has wanted to play in San Antonio? Because they just lost a superstar. So
Yeah.
it's not working.
I mean,
If it doesn't work for Pop, it's not going to work for a guy whose name I forgot during the segment. Boylan.
no, Pop should retire anyway.
But I think the larger issue is that, they had played a back-to-back, and he's forcing them to practice, and it's just not something that's...
They beat OKC the night before.
And they had a double-double, and like NBA players don't practice after a double-double.
That's not what a double-double is in the NBA.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I mean,
It
just
was
a
just
double
back-to-back.
header.
Back-to-back.
Sorry, double-header. That's what I meant.
I
Yeah.
was like, wait, they had a coffee?
Everyone on the team had at least 10 points and 10
Yeah, I
rebounds.
was like, wow, 10
least.
points, 10 rebounds, or
And they still lost.
10 blocks, 10 assists, or 10 points, 10 steals, whatever it is.
Dominant, but lost.
Phenomenal. Speaking of phenomenal, coming up next, it will be our guest of the week, Dave Brown. This is big time now. We got Dave Brown here with us, and we'll talk to him about some sports and life in
A
general.
giant, so to speak.
A giant that he is. A New York.
A giant
Minutes.
of his industry.
Yes, a New York Minute that he is.
Wait, I hope he's more than a New York Minute.
No.
Okay.
What is a New York Minute?
Not a long time.
No, a New York Minute is a long time, but it feels fast in New York.
That's right.
That's what it is, right?
That's not bad.
Dave Brown, man.
I think he wants to be New York.
DB. Maybe.
Stay tuned here on Hot Sauce Sports. And welcome back here to Hot Sauce Sports, as we are now in the middle part of the sandwich of Hot Sauce, as both these clowns to my left are on their phones, probably texting each other or something.
Get us out of here.
Did you see how thick it was?
Yeah,
though?
yeah. It was nice.
I mean, not the tallest, but
No, it was good, though.
So we have Peeze, Terry Tam, Duke in the throne, and Eagle in the nest.
I put the peas in girth.
I'm sure you do. The oomph and girth. And now we welcome in our next guest here on Hot Sauce Sports, a man that Terry Tam knows very well.
Former Giants quarterback.
Former Giants quarterback from Duke University. Took a vicious shot back in his rookie year with the Giants. Dave Brown with us.
He was resorted to career radio.
Dave Brown
Yeah,
for
exactly. You guys had to call my agent to put this one through, but it all went through all right.
Dave Brown from AMI, which stands for Accessible Media Inc. Dave, tell us about AMI and what this is all about for you in terms of this path of radio.
So we do a daily talk show where we talk about basically everything. But AMI's core purpose is to do a lot of coverage around disability issues, accessibility issues, but they give me total editorial freedom. So we do as we please. We just like to make sure we're talking about new ideas, new people, and fun stuff, and we enjoy it every day.
So take us into this world, though. Like, do you tackle the hardcore issues when it comes to these sort of elements that you discuss with this whole process?
Yeah, you have to, 100%. I mean, there are a lot of issues that are pressing around disability and accessibility that exist inside the world right now. I mean, I'm legally blind, so it's not something that I thought about a lot during my life. But when I started going down this career path, I realized there were all these stories to tell. I mean, the unemployment rate for people with disabilities in Canada is 50%. I mean, that's a staggering number. And in a lot of cases, it's situations where people can't even get into the buildings to get jobs. And, that's an issue we need to talk about. Poverty issues are a big deal. But the other side of it, too, is sport is a huge part of accessibility and disability as well. I mean, the Paralympic movement is growing all the time. We've had the opportunity to interview current Paralympic athletes, former Paralympic athletes, and talk about the movement there too. So there's so much going on there, and it's a great pleasure to do what we do. But we also enjoy it when we bring a guy like Terry on to talk about college football and pro football at Thanksgiving. So a bit of freedom, it's good for everybody.
You sure you have the right guy in Terry to talk about those sports?
I mean, his Amari Cooper take proved to be a little bit off kilter, but we don't hold one bad take against somebody.
I was fucking wrong about Amari Cooper, man.
Yeah, so was I.
Holy shit!
But to be fair, Terry, you're usually wrong about football,
Yeah, that's
so
a
that
very
wasn't
good point.
surprising.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He had those Cole Beasley blinders on. It's hard, man.
It's true. I love Cole Beasley.
Alan Hearns.
So what I want to ask Dave to start off with is, as a former teammate, how do you still feel about Kerry Collins at the moment? I'm kidding, of course. For those who haven't got the joke yet, Dave, this isn't the Dave Brown, ex-quarterback of the Giants. Dave, you are a huge football fan. However, you said you had an interesting idea about who you'd like to play, who you'd like to see in the Super Bowl. So who is it that you'd like to talk about today?
Well, they always talk about in the media how sometimes we're storyline guys, we're narrative guys. Mm-hmm. And to me, there's so many interesting matchups coming down the pipeline here. And, one of them that I think about a lot is the possibility of a Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees Super Bowl. I mean, Phillip Rivers is the guy who knocked Drew Brees out of that job in San Diego. And that changed the face of the New Orleans franchise to bring in Drew Brees after that situation. And that isn't to say Phillip Rivers has been a bad quarterback, but, that narrative writes itself. Not to mention it would be two great offenses going toe-to-toe. And, we do love a Super Bowl where some points are on the board.
Actually, who ruined that? It was Nick Saban's doctor Miami that said, no, we can't clear Drew Brees. For the Dolphins.
It's a Dolphins fan that's a knife in my heart.
There goes a Dolphins
here.
fan. There you go.
Same here, buddy. I feel you.
I
feel you.
But those Dante Culpepper were so good.
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't good.
Great years.
They were terrible.
How about the Matt Moore?
It wasn't years. It was 8 games. He played 8 very mediocre games.
Those 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Dave, do you think that the Chargers can get through to the AFC to get to the finals?
It's almost a bit unfair. They're likely going to finish with the second best record in the conference, and they're going to have to go on the road all 3 games to get out of there. So that's what makes the game tomorrow against Kansas City such a big game. But I love their pass rush. You're telling me that I get Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa coming off the edge with Derwin James patrolling the middle of the field at safety? I mean, that to me, guys, is just a dangerous combination. So it's not just the offense. Because the running back situation is pretty banged up right now, but they have an opportunity to get after any quarterback just the way the Broncos did a few years ago.
Just looking at some of the teams you talked about perhaps seeing a Rivers and Breeze showdown in the Super Bowl, and perhaps throw Tom Brady into that mix. We obviously can never count him out. Does this feel like the dying stand, however, for the old guard at quarterback with the up and comers like Pat Mahomes and Jared Goff?
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it's funny. Even someone like Aaron Rodgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger. These guys are not young quarterbacks either. I mean, Rodgers just signed the big extension, but the reality is there might only be 4 or 5 years left there. So we do see guys like Jared Goff emerging, Pat Holmes emerging, Andrew Luck. I got my issues with Andrew Luck and some of the hype he gets, but the reality is like. That's the future of the position. I mean, the reality is, how long is it till Cam Newton's going to be 30? Is Cam Newton already on the other side of 30? The reality is, like, the position is going to need to evolve. And I don't know if guys like Matt Ryan are going to be the guys to take up the mantle, quite frankly.
So in 5 years' time, Dave, who will have a Lombardi ring on their finger? Will it be Pat Mahomes? Will it be Deshaun Watson? Carson Wentz when he actually plays? Or even, for that matter, Mitch Trubisky or Jared Goff? Out of those 5 guys, who do you think will have a ring in 5 years' time?
Oh, Mo, thank you so much for saying the name Deshaun Watson. This guy is a pleasure to watch play football. I mean, the games last year when he emerged, the game against New England, the game against Seattle, and then he tears the knee in practice, comes back a bit slow this year. 9-game winning streak. Last week they were in the game. Deshaun Watson, a guy who can go toe-to-toe with Alabama one year, beat him the next year. The reality is Deshaun Watson is the truth. The guy's grit. And that Houston defense, it's somewhat old and somewhat young, and it's hard to get a read on. But the reality is, where they stand right now, they could even be a dark horse this year in the playoffs. They could be 1 year, and Deshaun Watson's going to have a ring on that finger.
I think so, too. I'm a huge Deshaun Watson fan. I love watching him play. He can move around. He doesn't really just run around a lot. He sticks in the pocket. He's got good receivers, though, at least to give the ball to. But for the most part, I think he's up there, man, with those guys. I think he's the top 2 of those that list that you named, Mo.
Well, look, one thing to look at here, Dave, when you look at this current structure of the NFL playoffs, what we're forecasting, I mentioned this on a tweet earlier this week. Wildcard weekend could very well have Pittsburgh, Dallas, Chicago, Seattle. And out of those 4 teams, I think one of those 4 teams is going to their respective conference title game. Do you think it could be the Cowboys? Could it be the Bears, Seahawks, or even the Steelers for that matter?
What's the total number of interceptions for Chicago's defense right now? I believe it's 23.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is just incredible. And they've, when Terry was on my show, I talked about the investment Chicago's put in their defense. Roquan Smith was maybe the best defensive player in the draft last year. Kyle Fuller, it took 4 or 5 years for him to get there, but the reality is he's controlling the field in a great way. They make the trade for Khalil Mack. They're doing the things they need to do to again, I don't mean to use that Denver comparison again, but the reality is your quarterback can be a bit Trubisky-esque. And you can win games if your defense is holding teams under 10 points. And sure, they may not get a ton of home field advantage. It may be gone after one weekend for them. But defense travels, and defense plays in domes. Defense plays on the road. Defense will play in California. I mean, I'm sure LA would love that rematch after last Sunday to prove something. But you got to think there's at least a little bit of fear that exists in their mind.
Dave, I got a bit of a beef with you. I am gonna call you out here. You need to defend your burger. Your National Cheeseburger Day post where you said your burger was a sourdough bun, medium well burger, Havarti cheese, bacon, tomato, pickles, hot pepper, mustard, guacamole, and tzatziki.
That's all right, though.
Oh, guacamole and tzatziki?
That might be a good.
Yeah, man.
First of all,
next week.
First of all, it's not a delicious hamburger unless there's a fried egg. You need a fried egg on that burger. It is delicious.
What do you mean, it's delicious?
And you need to serve the burger so that it is just not hot enough to melt the peanut butter because you don't want runny peanut butter.
You're putting peanut butter in your burger?
Oh, absolutely.
I've heard of that. I've tried that before. It's not that
Bacon,
bad.
peanut butter, fried egg, cheese, delicious.
No, I like Dave's burger.
You're wrong.
I would take out the tzatziki.
You're wrong, Terry.
I take out the tzatziki.
And yours,
and I'm Greek because I like guacamole in a burger more than I like tzatziki in a burger.
So defend your burger, Dave Brown.
So one of the things I like about that combo, especially when you mix the tzatziki and the guacamole, it creates this kind of like pesto mayo, but it's spicy, and you put it on the bottom of the bun, and it's really good. Then when you have like the pickles and the hot pepper, it gives it that salt and that burn on the top of the burger. Havarti cheese, nice and neutral, and the sourdough bun. I mean, you guys are Montrealers. You guys have been to Chipotle. How good is a burger on a sourdough bun?
It is the best bun.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So I get that I'm maybe throwing a few too many condiments into the mix. It's funny. One of my buddies who's a chef was like, "What are you doing medium well? You should do it medium rare." I'm like,
Agreed.
Guys, it's not a steak. It's a burger. It's a burger. I don't want to get food poisoning. You guys enjoy all the E. coli. I'm going to keep it pretty clean over here.
Medium rare for burger always. That's another place where you're on.
So Dave, I
You,
want
you know they won't let you do that in Ontario. In Ontario, when you get a ground beef burger, you must get it well done.
why
It's a great quality. Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah,
Ontario food
Ontario,
thing,
the
yeah.
good.
They
Very
gotta
good.
stop. They gotta stop controlling everything.
Well,
let
you
people
wanna-
order what they want to order.
You want to talk about? Sorry. go
Well, in
ahead.
Quebec, right, for a while, Taco Bell was not allowed into the province of Quebec because the quality,
quality
of
meat,
meat
yeah.
was not.
Yeah, and then
We do have a
fixed
higher-
ourselves and we allowed Taco Bell.
No,
'cause
we
it's
have a
awesome.
higher standard of meat than they.
Yeah,
they
higher
have.
Exactly,
quality.
that's the problem.
It's not a
Listen, you
problem.
gotta you gotta play the asshole roulette known as Taco Bell. Because if the 5 of us are gonna go, 2 of us are gonna end up in the hospital.
Okay, speaking of the asshole roulette, Dave, I know you have some strong opinions on the college football playoff reform.
Oh, Terry, thank you. No, guys, I apologize. I know you talked about it last week, but even a week and a half later, I'm still so hot. I despise the idea that the University of Central Florida hasn't lost a game in 2 years. They beat Auburn last year in a bowl game, the team that beat the two teams in the final. It's crazy to me UCF's not in. But you know what, boys? I'm not someone who just bitches with a solution. I believe in life you need to be solution-focused to be a great broadcaster and, quite frankly, to be a great person. So, college football playoff reform, guys, I've got 2 ideas. One is really controversial. I'll save that one for the end. But let's start with this. A 16-team tournament. Now, we're looking at a situation where we're taking the 10 FBS conference winners. So all of those FBS teams. We're not bringing an FCS. That's too crazy. All 10 of those teams, automatic bye, just like the NCAA basketball tournament. Then we're allowing 6 at-large bids. So that's where last year, Alabama would get in on the at-large bid. Notre Dame this year would get in on the at-large bid because God knows Notre Dame is never going to join a conference because they're a bunch of cowards. And then
There's
now I know.
money. It's all about money.
Now, I know what you guys are saying. Dave, player safety, it's going to mess up the games. It's crazy.
Well,
No.
it's for the student athlete here. They have exams to worry about.
Listen,
Never can they ever go from exams to playing a bowl game 4 straight weeks here.
Let's not call them students.
I don't.
If you get concussions for 11 straight weeks, how are you going to do your geometry exam? I get it.
West
So what we're
Virginia's
gonna do
number
here-
16, so they would have been in the playoff in this case.
And that would have been Will Greer was such an exciting quarterback all year. I would have loved to see
Yeah.
West Virginia get in. So guys, here's the deal. We're going to change the schedule a bit. We're going to get rid of 3 non-conference games. We're now looking at 1 non-conference game. So if Michigan wants to play Notre Dame or Florida wants to play Florida State, we can keep these traditional rivalries in. But what I really wanted to get to here is 9 conference games and then a conference championship. So now we've played 11 games, right? We're in good shape. We take a week off after the conference championship, and now we do the one-and-done tournament. The first 2 games are done with home field advantage based on your ranking. And the reality is for those teams who might have only gotten to play 11 games, during the time when they know they're not going to be a playoff team, they can go schedule that extra non-conference game at the end of the year.
Yeah,
they can line their pockets and stuff tickets in the student section. And then the situation is there can still be bowl games at the end of the year. We move the Final 4 into the same bowl game format. Bada bing, bada boom. We're making more money. We've got a just system. Here we go.
Well,
so that's what we're doing next year.
a just system where they make more money and still don't pay the players, however.
Justice with quotation marks around it.
The report came out today from the Athletic that now the ADs are going to try to push for an 8-team playoff format.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
In the next 3-4 years ago. Why wait 8 years? Let's do it in the next 2 to 3 years. So if that happens, maybe Dave's idea will come to fruition. We'll go
Dave,
to
hopefully you'll get some
a
credit. there.
64-team college football playoffs that'll end in early May.
All I know is if we had that this year, the rightful champions, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Would have lost to Clemson.
What was the controversial idea that you had, Dave?
Okay, this one is forward from our friends over in European soccer. Relegation.
Peeze already tuned out.
You said what? European what?
Yeah.
European football,
Sorry.
please.
European football. My apologies. So we're going with relegation. So if we're going to be in a situation where the committee is going to say, oh, you play in a smaller conference, you don't get to be in the tournament. We just don't consider you the same way. Well, here's the deal. When you're successful like UCF, like you are in 2 years, we're going to do relegation. When you've been successful like Houston was, when Tom Herman was the coach there, sorry, Kansas, you're out of the Big 12 at the end of the year. Houston's in. So maybe it's not going to lead to year in, year out justice, but at least it's a situation where we're reforming and giving opportunities. And by the way, I want to make sure this won't apply to other sports. It's just conference realignment inside football.
Unfortunately, Dave, the reality is that a lot of the schools are bound to state laws. So wherever Oklahoma were to go, Oklahoma State would have to be part of it. Same thing with Texas, same thing in Kansas with Kansas State. So this whole idea of relegation promotion would never
I don't think it would ever work.
Yeah, because a lot of schools are tied
It's a good
by
idea,
state
though.
laws.
I like it in its concept.
Yeah.
But in the NCAA, it's never going to work. Not only
Never
that,
fly.
yeah, I don't think
Fly.
it'll fly. Yeah, but not only that is that it's in the NCAA. Some teams build for 4 years to get to that championship.
Yes,
right?
that's Sun Belt title game.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to with their juniors, with their freshmen, they're gonna have to stay in the top conference. It'll be a little tough.
What would be crazy though is like you have a solid team, but it just didn't work out. You got a couple injuries. You finish the end of the conference. Then next season, half your team transfers out because you're being relegated to a lesser conference.
Transfer,
Yeah.
it's true.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Dave Brown from AMI. Dave, what do you have lined up next in the next few weeks?
Well, tomorrow we're going to be doing a great show about shopping local ahead of the holiday season, the value of supporting local businesses. Later in the week, we're going to be talking about employment issues for people with disabilities. We've actually got a buddy of mine coming on in a couple of weeks to talk about the Rocky movies and what they mean as a collective. And then going into the New Year's, we're going to do one about losing some weight, some New Year's resolutions, good tips to get back into the gym. We got lots of good stuff coming down the pipeline. Oh, we got a documentary filmmaker talking about a film he made about the dangers of the hipster pet known as pug dogs, or used known as pugs.
Oh my God,
Dave, our
graphicist there.
My brother, our producer / graphicist, owns a pug, and he is the worst hipster.
He's probably pissing all over my carpet right now.
He looks like a hipster right now.
Guaranteed.
Dave Brown. Sorry, go
The
ahead.
jeans get skinnier when you got pugs.
That's it, exactly.
Dave Brown from AMI here on Hot Sauce Sports. Dave, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, boys, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it. So glad you guys got this thing off the ground. The show sounds great.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Thanks,
Thanks
Dave.
a lot, buddy.
Dave Brown from AMI. Coming up next, the final turn of Hot Sauce Sports, and I devouring some hot sauce, which would be like milk to me. Stay tuned here on Hot Sauce.
So he's not a quarterback.
No.
Okay.
All right, welcome back here to Hot Sauce Sports. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, IG, the whole nine. You can follow our handles as well. Peeze FPF, Terry Tam, at Moe Khan 19. And a few other things as well, as you see the scroll of names and contacts they can go through. Just to wrap up with the headlines, let's dive back into it. Boredom for baseball. They're in Las Vegas. MLB GMs and owners, the whole nine.
That's just an excuse for them to get hookers, right?
Yeah, maybe. Or just go to
Has to
Mandalay
be.
Bay. Go catch the Knights game. Buy Raiders season tickets. Who knows? All right, so gentlemen, quickly here. Bryce Harper's new home will be where?
Fuck, that's a good one, man. I mean, I like him going to Pittsburgh, something like that. Maybe an outside, maybe a team on the other side. What other teams have money? I mean, what other teams have?
Phillies are saying-
320?
My
The
dad.
Phillies-
Well, thanks for stealing my fire. I said I
No
thought you'd
worries,
give-
man. That's
but the
what they do.
Phillies are the obvious pick.
Yes.
Because it's in the same division. I mean,
Yes, and
So-
they have the money to do it.
they have the money to do it. It's an obvious
And
pick.
it's a traditionally good baseball
Of course, yeah.
city and
Great
baseball
market.
team.
Yeah.
I'm going
They've
with
had
Philly.
very successful years, and they're looking to get back. And I think they have a team maybe missing one piece, like Bryce Harper, to do it. But Bryce Harper is always going to be the second best player in the league.
To Mike Trout?
Yeah, it's tough to be better.
I
than
mean,
Mike Trout, to be
it's
considered
not.
better than
That's
Mike
not
Trout.
that bad to be.
No, but I'm saying, imagine what Mike Trout's worth. And he's
yeah,
23.
it's okay. Scarborough's getting both paid.
He's 23, Mike.
What's
Trout.
crazy is that whatever Bryce Harper gets will be the value of the next MLB franchise through expansion. Like
One
2/4
player,
of it. Like
Yeah.
if it's $400 million he gets, that's half the value of
It's
a
half.
franchise.
It's half what it's costing the NHL to launch the Seattle.
Yeah.
What were we calling them again? The
Supersonics.
The Seattle Washington Capitals, but in Capitals.
Yes, Washington Caps Capitals.
Last topic. Who do you not want to face in the NFL?
Okay, so I saw this in
playoffs?
Bleacher Report when they're talking about the Seattle Seahawks are the team you don't want to face in the playoffs. I love that because that's just a way to say a team is mediocre.
Yes.
So let me put it this way, Terry. I look at it and I say, the Baltimore Ravens. Why? Because your offense is just crappy enough to beat you. They'll bore you to death. You will fall asleep. You will get sacked. You will lose the game. Baltimore Ravens are my team that you don't want to play against, but they're not as good as the teams you actually don't want to play against. Baltimore Ravens.
So we spoke about San Diego earlier in the
interview
show
with
with
Dave.
Padres.
and I think the Padres. I think San Diego.
The LA
team
Chargers.
has San Diego-
Chargers.
The Chargers. I think the Chargers are the team you don't want to play in the playoffs. I think because they're sneaking kind of under the radar. They're not going to win the division.
That's you're not gonna actually have fun with this. You're gonna just.
He used like
Okay,
4
so
cliches
it
right
would
now.
be.
Serious
I wouldn't
sports guy,
want
really?
I wouldn't want to play anybody
All right, because winning.
because winning
Yeah.
is better when you don't play a team.
Just get forfeits.
Yeah.
Because they don't play with you because you're not nice.
Exactly, and then you just win the championship and you get the awards.
Don't want to play Cleveland Browns, man.
I wouldn't want to play the Cleveland Browns.
No,
either. They're
man.
fucking
They-
tough to
they
play
don't
against.
need
You want
that.
to play
man.
them though? 7 teams beat them. So
About four,
Yeah,
like
but
5
they-
were
4 teams
overtime-
didn't.
Yeah, 5 were like overtime losses.
one team also didn't.
Also
didn't.
They should be.
did?
They should be 10-2-1 in my books. They
10-2
lost 5
Oh, so
overtime
they-
games. Anyway,
The Dolphins
true,
should.
no,
the
but
Dolphins
yeah.
should always be 17-0 then.
You know, but they have a good thing going now. They could have won that division if they had won a couple of those games.
yeah. If Hugh Jackson to go Hugh Jackson third person, he was going to run the show.
Hugh
here.
didn't pull a Hugh.
That was a classic line that he used after the Raiders press conference 2011. All right, let's go into the last segment here. Truth.
Second
or-
to last, Mo.
Second
Is
to
you
last.
got to
Well,
pay off a debt.
I know.
So-
Well, it's last segment of what we have to do here. Truth or Poblano? Is that what it's called? here?
Poblano's a hot spice. Yeah.
Okay, very
Section
well
of-
then.
So I'm gonna read
Just a
out.
funny pepper.
I'm gonna read out some universities, hypothetical or real universities.
So give us an example.
Because the
I'm
goal
gonna
is
give you an
because
example. I'm gonna say Kaka University. You're gonna tell me if it's real or not.
Obviously.
Oh, okay, like a fictional, non-fictional.
yeah,
school.
fictional
truth or
or
poblano,
Yeah.
real or poblano. The thing is, Mo is known as like the sports almanac, and I'm known as an idiot. So I'm convinced the idiot
Well, hold on here.
will
Before
beat
we go,
the almanac.
dude, there's no alcohol in those hot sauces, is there?
No, don't worry.
I don't drink alcohol, right? So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we know.
all right, perfect.
It's good, man.
It's from
Good man.
Mexico. There's no
Good
alcohol
man.
in Mexico.
Never.
It's just worms that filled with alcohol.
never. Okay, here we go.
The worms drank it all.
So, okay, first college. Ready? Just like the cigarette, Marlboro College.
Marlboro's absolutely real. Their logo is a camel. And that's why you know it's a real school, because Marlboro would never have camels on their package.
Mo?
Non-fiction. Sorry, fictional.
Fictional. So it's real.
Yeah!
It's
What
real
got the
in
baby?
Marlboro, Vermont. But the reason why you never heard of it, Mo, is because they have 195 students. Their
Oh,
mascot is
Camel.
is
Like
the
I said.
fighting dead tree. what
A
the
real-
fuck is that?
How
real-
can it be both dead and fighting? It's a zombie tree.
What the fuck?
A real field hockey powerhouse.
Okay, cool. Next school.
Yes.
Southwestern Community College.
Southwestern Community College
Yeah.
is real. Their team name is the Southwest Sauce. And it's sponsored by Subway. Subway runs the school.
I thought that
I'm
too.
gonna go with that. I'm gonna go real.
Real? Okay, it is a real community college. There's a few Southwestern community colleges, actually. This one that I found is
Oklahoma?
is located in Iowa, Creston,
Oh.
Iowa, and their team name is the Spartans.
Oh,
Oh.
how original!
so Subway
Original.
has-
Yeah.
Subway
Real
There's a lot of
original.
Spartans in Iowa.
So Subway hasn't bought the school yet.
Exactly, pretty
Okay.
much, yeah. So, next one. Mo,
Yes.
Peeze, Central Northwestern University.
That's too many directions. There's no way that's real. That's bullshit. No way. Directionless.
Central Northwestern
Central
University.
Northwestern. Is in the Southwest.
I cannot answer that question.
I'll say it's fictional.
It's fictional. Peeze, you're saying it's fake?
That's why you can't answer the question. It's fictional.
No, it is fake, but there is a North Central University.
I mean, that's one less direction.
It's one less direction. Okay, you ready for this one?
Yes. Quickly
East
here.
West University.
East West University is absolutely a thing. Their mascot is just
It's
two
real.
arrows pointing in opposite directions.
I'll go with the same thing.
So it's real?
Yes.
Okay, it is real, but it is not located in the U.S. or in Canada. It is located in Dhaka of Bangladesh.
Oh.
Obvious.
Oh yes, it's a real
And
cricket
they also,
power.
there's also a North-South University.
All right.
Very
They're
original.
known as the
How many more we
Crickies.
have of these before we get to the hot sauce?
Okay, last
Jones?
one.
Yes.
So the South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Yes, that's real. That's
Absolutely
real. That's real.
Absolutely
That's real?
That's so real. I see the commercial for it.
Yeah, okay. It's actually not real. It is fictional from a movie called Accepted,
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a great movie.
Starring-
yes,
starring
that's right.
Jonah Hill and
That's-
Justin Long.
That's a good movie. Yeah.
And their mascot was a sandwich.
That's
And
right.
they were called with the abbreviation shit sandwiches.
Yeah.
But so,
And he had brown as the
How-
team colors.
exactly,
That's
yeah.
right.
but how can you say in one breath that it's fake and in the next breath that Jonah Hill and Justin Long went there?
It's a very good point, but it was also a fake university in the movie.
All right.
So
it was double fake.
It was a
It's
double fake. Double fake.
All right, boys. So
Thank you for partaking.
Thank you. Is now
Looks
time
like
for
Mo
the-
lost another bet, however,
Yeah,
because
it looks like it.
I won by 1.
Okay, Mo, ready for
So
this?
what's in this, Duke? What's in this hot sauce? Cup?
It's a combination of spices, Mo, and one of them specifically is really crusty.
Right.
All right.
It's habanero crust.
All right, here we go. For all those, thank you to the New York Knicks for screwing me over.
The Raiders
Done
won,
with you,
Mo.
Knicks.
The
Done
Raiders
with you.
won. Are you now a fan of the Oakland Raiders?
No, I told you, until Caveman Gruden is gone, I am not a Raider fan. Here we go.
Drink your sauce.
Pretty good.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man.
So how do we end the show now? Because we drink it and then you end the show.
No.
Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for watching. For Moe Khan, that's his face.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on iTunes, Spotify. Tweet at us, Facebook at us. We'll be back next week. Wherever you are, whether you're walking, skiing, snowshoeing, jogging, biking, driving, taking the bus, having hot sauce, Subway, whatever it is, follow us, give us a listen, because we are Hot Sauce Sports.
And remember, subscribe, because that's how we get paid.
Straight cash, homie.
More people talking.
Bye for now.
What money?
You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.